Hello, everyone, and welcome to Conversations with Fafane. I'm Fafane Medisa, and I'm joined by a friend. Can I call you a friend of the podcast?
Of course.
Of the podcast, Renuka Methil. How are you? And how's the planning process of this entire event been?
How quickly a year has gone. We just met last year.
Literally.
Seems like a few months ago when we were at the summit in Johannesburg, Pretoria last year. I think it's been hugely successful. As you can see, the show has just ended. And I spoke in my speech about, happy beginnings and happy endings. And I think that's what we want, not just for a summit, but for the conversations around, female leadership and all that we can bring to the table as leaders.
Yeah.
So we've literally brought the house down. We had some fantastic speakers. I'm very proud to say that this year we probably had the best lineup we've had in 9 years. Like every panel, every talk, every conversation, every interview was with somebody of crucial significance doing something of impact and leading, being agenda setters in their own way. And that's what we need at the end of the day is you need agenda setters for Africa, people who can create a new kind of discourse that is well etched, in the continental development phase that we're in.
Yeah, and the industries also were very vast, from sports to model poetry. I mean,
that's what makes the summit so hugely popular and successful, I guess. First of all, because Forbes Africa itself is a Pan-African publication, so it's the entire sub-Saharan Africa that we cover. And remember, when you cover such a large region, it's so diverse. And Africa is so heterogeneous, it's many Africas in one. I probably said that the last time I spoke with you. So it's getting all of those cultural contexts, getting all the talents from these different, parts of Africa, and getting them to share their stories on what it's like at their end. Right? And the diversity does not stop with just the regional diversity. It's also women from different sectors, as you mentioned. So everybody from your AI, we had an astronaut, the first female astronaut from Africa, come all the way from Egypt. We had a lady who specializes in war documentaries and documenting war crimes, coming all the way from Ukraine. And as I mentioned in my interview on stage with her, this is the kind of commitment you want to see in people. She took 3 trains and 2 planes over 2 days to get from Kyiv, Ukraine, to South Africa. Why? Because she wanted to engage. She wanted to talk about her story. And by the way, her organization won the Nobel Peace Prize in 2022. So having these diverse newsmakers from around the world congregate in Africa, congregate at an event on a single day under one roof, how powerful is that?
Absolutely incredible. And the question of better and how can we get better, especially it was my first time attending last year, and I thought this was absolutely insane. Brought the house down. And so for you, obviously, because you can strive for better, there's greater. When it came to the strategizing of this better that we now see manifested today, what was going on?
So, we've been perfecting this art for the last 9 years, and I think every year you keep getting better at it. You learn from the lessons from last year. What is it that you did right? What is it that you did wrong? And how can you improvise on that? So for me, as the editor of Forbes Africa, everything begins with content. So if you have award-winning content that's reflective of what you do for the magazine, this is just a live 4D interpretation of what you see in the magazine. Right? So if you have topics that are the hot topics of the day that you focus in the magazine, just bring it up on stage. And it's the same contenders, it's the same people who are featured there, the heavy hitters, the A-list CEOs, your A-list artists, people who are changing the social dimension in some way from Africa across the world. those are the people that you will see here. So the strategy is very simple. It's to produce content that is very engaging, as we saw today. From morning till evening, we didn't have a single person stir out of the room or go out for coffee or tea. It was a full house, right? That's because simply because every discussion was with somebody who had something to say and who had something to convey. There was an important message at the end of every conversation. It was not, what you conventionally think of a women's conference as a male bashing, I'm a woman. I think you can still say all of that
without having the anti part of it.
exactly.
Yeah.
You can still say all of that, but using different contexts. Like you can speak about AI, and then therein it is implied that you are a leader in that space. So you don't really need to say I want to be a leader. You're already there.
Yeah.
Right? So I think that is what is important. So the part of the strategy is collating the experiences of people, collating emotions, as you saw in the spotlight segment. That's a hugely popular segment. Every year we've been getting it, getting a standing ovation for it, and I personally, I editorially curate that segment. So it's not just the people with the great credentials who get to be on that special stage. It's the people with fantastic stories as well. And it takes a while. It takes a couple of rehearsals to peel those layers off.
So they also have to rehearse?
Yeah, they do. We go through these Zoom calls and rehearsals and script readings and everything. So you need to peel off the layers, and then you find this gem, the diamonds in the rough, and that's what you actually saw today. They only represent what you can actually do with the entire talent that you have, in a room like this. It's 1,000 women. Everybody has something great, some great. So they're only a subset. What you see on stage is only merely representative of what you actually see in the entire ballroom.
Wow.
Because the people on stage are just a small reflection of what you have, the talent that is prevalent in the room on the day. So it's power packed, it's action packed. And then when you have good content, you also need great team to bring it all together. So the teamwork that makes a dream work. So the fact is the Africa Business News Group, we are both Forbes Africa and CNBC Africa. So it's wonderful to pool all our strengths and pool all our talents, and the team completely comes together for this one day. It's so beautiful how everything just falls in place. It's a lot of work, a lot of sleepless nights, long days, several cups of coffee, weekend rehearsals, and then up until the last minute, you're wondering if something could go wrong. But when everybody rises to the occasion and makes it, does everything in their power to make it so successful, it's just such a wonderful feeling, even at the back end. When you see the applause, you hear the applause and you hear the comments, you see it on social media. I've had so many people coming up to me today and congratulating us. It just feels great. But at the back end, you're thinking, wow, could we have done this without a great team? So I'm very, very proud of what we can bring to the table simply because we're leveraging off each other's strengths. So, and that's what makes an event, and it makes an event of this magnitude so phenomenal and so appreciated and acknowledged by the public.
Yeah, and I think the team you were leading must have been way bigger than the previous year. And so I'm thinking, beyond just being a journalist and, strategist from overseeing and a writer and et cetera, you're also a leader. And what qualities or what leadership philosophy have you been running with for you to kind of show us this well-oiled machine? Because from what we're saying, things are running smoothly. I mean, like super smooth.
Oh, really? Wow. Only we know the truth. So what goes on in the back. But yeah, we make it look effortless. We make it look seamless. But there's a lot of refining and fine tuning that goes on. As a leader, I think it's very important to listen to everybody's point of view. So I never see my team as followers. I see them all as leaders. So I always listen to them, and I feel that works for me better than anything else. So it's definitely a two-way interaction. And boy, they also call me out, right?
Yeah.
When I make mistakes and stuff. So, or when I'm wrong, they do call me out. And I think that's good in a way, because you need that two-way interaction. And that's the only way you can have healthy debate, or you can have you don't always need to have a healthy consensus. But you need to have those distractions, and you need to be uncomfortable. Like, and it is from that discomfort that you start thinking properly. It's discomfort. Everything it's, if you ask me, at least personally for me, everything I do starts with a level of discomfort. So whether it's a panel discussion that I have, or a talk that I have to do on stage, or a magazine that I have to bring out, it's that level of, you have to be uncomfortable for you to start to initiate the creative process.
Yeah.
It's a creative process at the end of the day. This you see as a summit is actually the creative journey of several minds. Everything, all the nuts and bolts, all the things, the parts of the jigsaw puzzle that have to fall in place, and you have to do it in a way that is appreciated by everybody. So you're catering to a large audience, and as I said, it's such a diverse audience. This is a magazine that covers everybody from economists to entrepreneurs to sports stars to artists to musicians. So you saw today the number of, for me, I heard the conference today.
Yeah.
I saw it, but I also heard it because of the number of artists that we had on stage, especially for the spotlight segment, where there was a poetess, there were a few R&B singers, there were dancers. So it's the musical arts, and to be an artist. And a journalist, for me, you're also an artist.
Yeah.
And that artistic journey is a very solitary process in the beginning. You sit down with a piece of paper and you're thinking, okay, what should you plan for this year? Or, what is the creative direction that the theme of your summit should take? We all start with that discomfort, which is always an individual solitary process, because that is the only way you can think like an artist. This is like a canvas. The summit is like a large canvas in front of you. And what you fill it with, people, color, images, visuals, and then you have people in the flesh enjoying the output of that process. It's an incredible feeling, as a leader, and everybody in the organization. It's a wonderful feeling. Management of the ABM Group. It's wonderful to work in a company where they give you that creative direction, and they give you that creative freedom, and you can only flourish in an environment like that.
Yes.
And when you personally, you creatively flourish, you will bring it to the job, right? And it will reflect in everything you do.
Yeah. And were there elements of yourself that you saw come out during the process? Just from, you're running the magazine, and then you're also preparing for this event, and so many other things you're doing, and in the pressure and the everyday works of things, it's realizing that, oh wow, I didn't realize I was this strong. I didn't realize I was this smart.
You have no other way but to be strong. When you wake up in the morning and you think, oh God, I've got a summit. We have to pull off the summit, or we've got to pull off the awards. You just have to do it. It's a huge responsibility, and you do whatever it takes to make it happen. It doesn't matter that you work 46 hours at a stretch, or don't sleep for 3 days. It's fine. It's the adrenaline keeps you going. It's the adrenaline that actually is very important in this. Unless you have it or you don't have it, but you've got to have that sense of. And you're not doing this for yourself, and I never think of the magazine as something I do. It's my team's work. I just help them and guide them, and everything that is done is actually done by them. And I lead them, yes, with their creative direction and all of that, but just like that, even the summit it's all of us. It's everybody's signature here. Everybody's brought something to it. Yeah. And that is what makes it so beautiful.
Yeah. And in closing, I know it's oftentimes you say, what can we expect in the future? But this was just so incredible. I think it'd be an injustice to not ask you, when you reflect on from the preparation to the actual execution, to the manifestation for it actually happening. And now we're coming to the end of it now, with the gala coming in later. When you reflect on it, what comes to mind?
We should keep improving on it.
Yeah.
I think we've raised the bar this year. I wish I could go all out and say this is probably Africa's biggest women's summit. I think I'm almost confident enough to say that. Having done this for 9 years, the group, this is the 9th installment that the ABN group has put out. I think we can confidently say that this is definitely the most sought after calendar event in Africa for women and female powerhouses. So I would like to say that, and I would like to believe that we continue the momentum. See, when you have a tag like that, or when those expectations are set, it becomes a responsibility that that you keep up the momentum. So anything that you do, whether you do a magazine or you do an event, the momentum is very important, right? Just consistently keep at it, come what may. And that momentum is what we would like to keep up going forward, because there are increased expectations now. Next year, everybody's going to wonder, how are you going to improve on last year, and last year we said the same thing. So I guess storytelling will never go out of fashion.
Oh yeah. Authentic storytelling even.
Authentic storytelling will never go out of fashion. So you could either do it, you could be doing it as a social media post or a TV show, or as a story in a magazine, or a summit like this. At the end of the day, you're telling human stories, real stories. Look at what Leela said on stage. Look at what all the spotlighters spoke about. At the end of the day, the human element is very important, no matter how big your format or how big your canvas is. So it could be a tiny little social media post or a summit attended by 1,000 people. At the heart of it is heart. Right?
Yeah.
It's passion and it's heart. And that's something we do extremely well.
Absolutely. Renuka, you are a star. I mean, worthy to be celebrated. And I think you guys have done such an incredible job. And again, it's just the stories are so authentic. And I think one may not have necessarily related, but to connect, that was an obvious part of it, just connecting to the different stories and hearing them and being so inspired by the perseverance and really just realizing how diverse women are. We're so creative and complex in our own weird way, and I guess that's the process of it all and the beauty. And again, like you said, consistency is key.
Yes.
Keep at it, and at the heart of it is heart. I don't think I'll let that one go. And it's a treatable one as well.
It is.
Thank you so much for gracing us with your time. Really appreciate it, as usual. See you next year.
And always a pleasure talking to you. I think you're doing a fabulous job.
Thank you so much. I've got your stamp of approval. All right. Thank you all so much for watching us, and we'll see you next time.